Yep. Hey guys, Zach Monroe, Easy Custom Ag Services. We're sitting here. It's a foggy morning, 2nd of August. We're prepping for another run at fungicide today. Out and about, covering acres the last few weeks, just talking with guys. I've heard some compatibility issues in our late season herbicides, doing our late post passes. And really, this is something we could prevent. This is something we could prevent early in the year while we're making these chemistry decisions in the wintertime while the snow's flying. We can do that by simply jar testing, getting our ratios correct, and putting it all in a jar and letting it sit and seeing what happens. This isn't something you want to find out the hard way. This is not a compatibility issue in the tank. It's definitely not something we want to deal with sitting at the end of the field. It's something we want to get in there and understand what's going on early, because nobody wants to dig out cottage cheese out of their spray tank. Now, there is compatibility agents that can be tossed in, but at that point, it's a rescue mission, and that's, again, something we could have prevented early. And I'd say most times, one thing we lack at is putting enough carrier in the tank. We're really shooting for efficiency. That's the name of the game in this business, and spraying in general, farming in general, and its efficiencies. And we want to be efficient while we're spraying. We're going to cut that rate. We're going to go longer in the field. Well, that's fine and dandy until we find out what that threshold is when things don't get along well in the tank. Again, this is where we can jar test, get our ratios right, see what works, what doesn't work. Also, we need to follow mixing orders. We need to read our labels when we get our product in February, March. We need to read our labels and understand what we're dealing with, what goes with what, how that's going to affect crop if we're going on a post pass. We don't want to find out the hard way by burning our beans and sacrificing any yield at this point in the year. We want to understand what we're dumping in the tank, how it's going to get along, and how it's going to play with our leaf surface on our beans, on our corn. And one place we like to refer to, if we have any question or have any doubt in our mixing order, I like to look at Oklahoma State University Extension. They on their website, they have a great breakdown of Wales, our mixing order. They spell it out pretty easy for everybody to understand. It's one I like to defer to if I'm a little bit unsure. And again, too, it's reading our labels, reading our product labels before we actually get out to the field. One other thing we can look at too is our pH. Let's check that pH of our water before it even hits the tank. Let's read our labels. Let's see what pH it's calling for. Is there something? Do we need to add an acidifier to get the best performance out of our herbicide? It's these small things that we can look at in that cold winter time frame, as opposed to sitting on the end of the field cursing our chemistry guys because something's not playing well in the tank. When it's, again, something we preach here is an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure, and that applies. Well, we bring that up in fungicide with making an early application of fungicide, but we can apply this to any facet of life. So let's get out there. Let's understand what we're dumping in our tanks. We have these expensive machines. We have this very expensive chemistry. Let's make sure it gets along, because nobody wants to dump 1,000 gallons into a tote because things didn't get along well. And it's something we could have prevented early. And that's what I got to say today, guys. We'll see you next time in the field.